Hello, this is a conversation in artificial intelligence. This is Paolo, your host, and it's an honor privilege to have you here today. So we have in the past talked about the effect of AI, artificial intelligence, into the marketing technologies. Today we want to go a little bit deeper and look at how marketing technology, AI, are shaping the retail industry, and particularly looking at some interesting use cases that really affect all of us. So have you ever thought what's happening when you go and refuel your car? It's something that you probably do a couple of times a week. And there is a lot of marketing going on there. There is a lot of analytics and artificial intelligence and algorithms that are used in that area. So you might be surprised, but that area of your life is already contaminated by artificial intelligence. So with that said, let me introduce the guest today. So with us today, we have Ron Gerace, who is the Vice President of Product, Sales and Marketing at Exchange Solutions, a technology company based out of Boston. Hi, Ron. How are you today?
Good, Paolo. How are you?
I am very good, very good. So Ron, let's start this, and before we go into the details of how marketing and artificial intelligence are playing a role in retail, I'd like to really understand, how did you end up working as a product and marketing and sales leader in the space of artificial intelligence? What brought you here?
For me, I'm a trained engineer. And then I also was very intrigued by the marketing side of the business. I like to see the connection between the product that gets designed and developed and how it fits in the marketplace. That's always been a passion of mine. And so in this case here, leading product is a natural, it's the most fun part of my job, is thinking about the products that we can put in market and making sure that we know that we can build them cost effectively, and they actually will bring value in the marketplace. So I love putting that whole formulation together.
Today, you lead basically both the technology and the marketing of a company that is trying to apply AI in the realm of digital marketing and retail. Where do you see the balance between a vertical knowledge versus the understanding of how to build products in AI?
You know, one of the things that Amazon kind of taught, and what Jeff Bezos would ask for, is start with the customer. What does the customer want? What will work with the customer? And so the vertical experience gives me deep insight and gives our company deep insight into what retailers will be looking for. And then how to navigate within a retail environment. What are the complexities that we would have to face within a retail environment? So thinking about their customers and thinking about their business processes. So you start there, and then you apply your core competency. And through kind of a technical skill set that I have, I understand, the analytical part and the technical part. And we're able to work with the developers and the data scientists to come up with the products in the form and in the fashion that will be most widely adopted and will hit the mark for retail. In some organizations, in everybody's, I think everybody has their own recipe for success. But I always believe that there's a really good balance between business side and tech side in bringing the best products to market.
Why is real-time marketing and why is real-time life value optimization of importance in retail?
In retail, whether it was my years at Staples, right, we would know that a customer in the store, it was really important to engage that customer because you had that customer in your store. Soon they would be out of your store. Or in the online space, when they came to your website, it was important to engage them on the website in real time, or else they would leave you. You have their mind share at that time. They're there for a purpose, and it's your opportunity to engage them one-to-one. So that's the incredible importance of real-time engagement. Now, where AI comes in and why it's such a critical enabler of, for example, real-time engagement is the ability to process customer history, the ability to process what the customer is doing, whether it's on the website or potentially in the store, what the customer has done before with your email, all that stuff gets factored in and gives you a good sense of what that customer's interests are and maybe additional interests. And that AI allows you to process the big data in just near real-time processing capability, and then to deliver an instantaneous message to engage that customer.
What we have found out from you so far is that engaging the customer at the right moment is crucial because the mind share is limited. So there is a specific time when the customer is interacting with you, and that's the time to act. But how do you act upon? Like, what interaction can you elicit that has value for the customer and value for the business, that it's really real time?
The core measure, right, of any customer franchise for a retailer is customer lifetime value. And when you're engaging the customer in real time with customer lifetime value as your backdrop, then you engage. Then what you're doing is you're engaging the customer along those lines. For example, can that customer purchase more because they gave you a clue that they're interested in other things? Is that customer one of your better frequency customers? Are they showing up once or twice a week as opposed to once or twice a month? Is that customer staying with you a long time? Are they a 2 or 3 year shopper with you, or are they starting to drop off after a year? And then is that customer somebody who's very promotionally driven and will just shop your sale items, or will that customer be a bit more broad in their purchase with you as a retailer? That's the strategic context. So as we engage a customer, we're looking at those. And if we find that, for example, I could purchase more because you don't have all my share of wallet, then I would engage with an average or a basket builder offer in real time to get me to purchase more. If there were some key categories that I'd given you a clue for but I don't buy into, then I would engage on some of those key categories. And if I was a shopper that was not as frequent as I could be, based on insights and clues that have provided you through all those data sources that I had mentioned previously, then we would give you a frequency offer. And all those things can come to either a mobile device, they can come as an email, which is not so real time, or they can come as a direct message in the online channel, which is real time, just as mobile be real time. And all of that will work to capture that customer's buying and buying behavior within the channel that they're shopping. In fact, if one of our retailers that we work with, getting customers to the store from online is an important one. Buy online, pick up in store, research online, pick up in store. These are key use cases. And we will engage the customer and let them know that there is more opportunity in the store for them, or there's a special offer for them, or something like that, all at the retailer's direction and discretion. But we're able to do it all in real time, engaging in the moment that the customer is there with a highly relevant offer, incentive, or message. Doesn't always have to be monetary.
We often think of real-time marketing as making another offer or making the customer purchasing a larger basket. But how much of it is creating a relationship with the customers?
How we deliver that relationship building is, again, through the non-monetary offers. So we're messaging customers, whether it's about thanking them for their business, whether it's about thanking them for a previous purchase, whether it's letting them know that particularly for a big ticket item where, for example, a return, where they're wondering about a return process, we deliver them a message on, it's easy to return this item if you needed to. Just taking any type of interpreted concern of the customer and reinforcing the value of that particular retailer to overcome any of the concerns that the customer may be feeling. And in that case, when you're in real time and you're highly relevant, you're building the relationship. The customer walks away thinking, wow, you really know me, you really get me. I really love doing business with this retailer. And you do that by the interactions. One of our patterns, if you will, as we think about any of the digital engagements, is that trusted sales rep in the old shoe store, where you would walk in and that trusted rep knew your style preferences and knew your size and understood your family and would then walk you over to the right item and maybe even give you a little discount there. And you loved going back to that retailer, that shoe salesperson, within that shoe store because you had that personalized experience. So, we don't put real people in play here, but what we do is we inform real people what they could do, and we deliver messages like that in real time so that it's maybe we'll call it the next best thing than having that trusted sales rep next to you.
Can you walk us through one of such use case? Maybe we can look at a specific retail and trying to understand where AI is used and really what it does.
What AI does in this case, let's just take research online, buy in store. Okay, so the customer is looking. Now we know through customer history in real time that this customer is a store shopper. And so this customer is research online, so we know that there's a high propensity that they go online. We know what the customer is looking for. So what we're assessing is this product available in the store? There's a good likelihood that it is available in store, but not all products that the customer sees online is available in store. But we're making that assessment because we know the store assortment and we know the online assortment. We also get a sense of this customer's buying history beyond the channel of preference. It's what are the items that they're buying. So let's just say that this customer is now looking at an item that they don't historically buy from the retailer. So now we have a clue. They're a store shopper. This product is or is not available. It is available in the store. And what we're doing is we're teeing up a message that'll say to this loyal customer, but of a narrow purchaser, that going to the store, they're going to be able to try this item on if it's an apparel item, and they're going to get great value. And maybe we give them an offer depending on their value proposition back to the retailer. So, we know the profitability of customers. And, we get that through the customer history. And so if it's a high margin, high profit customer, we expect that they'll buy it without needing an offer. If it's a customer that's needs an incentive to kind of push themselves forward, we'll give them a rational incentive. And if you go to the store and buy this $100 shirt, we will give you $5 off. Something very nominal, but something compelling. And we will know that $5 is probably just enough to get that customer in the store. Maybe another customer might need $10, something to that effect. So we vary the incentive, we vary the message to get that customer to the store. And then the retailer in the store takes advantage of it. And when the customer checks out in store, the offer will be waiting for them at the POS.
Is there any point of interaction between the online experience and the moment in which the customer goes to the store before he actually purchases? Like when he gets into the store, is there any way that the store knows this?
There can be, right? There can be, right? The retailer will need to have some type of device like an iPad or some type of tablet device to be able to recognize that somebody's coming in the store. There can be a sign-in, right, for loyalty, like one of our grocery customers is a way for you to scan a card and all of a sudden you're recognized and all your offers in store are available to you on your mobile device. So we do that with the second largest grocer up in Canada. But not every retailer does that. We have a very large specialty apparel retailer that wants to move in that direction. But suffice to say, I think the standard execution right now is just the customer's incentive to go into the store. And then at POS, the offer that was driven uniquely for them, individualized for them, is available to them in the store environment.
Where, if anywhere, this type of approach, sending an offer to the customer, trying to bring the customer to the store and so on. If you look at it from industry vertical, what they sell, if you look at it from whether or not it is a local chain versus a national chain, where it is more effective and what else could be done to make it more effective?
The most effective execution for the total immersive experience where you cover those middle customer engagement elements that you've referred to, recognizing a customer that walks into the store, greeting that customer, helping it clearly is in high-end apparel. There's a number of retailers that do it there. And of course, the margin profile, the expense, the lifetime value of that potential customer, everything aligns perfectly with the high spend that one has to do to deliver that type of experience. And so that's a great one there, right down to the types of items that you would want to try on and having a store associate ready for you. Right when you walk through the door, having a sense of the items that you want the minute you come through. They will then check and see that you had a red dress, a blue dress, and a black dress that you were interested in, knowing the styles, and they will have those ready for you to try on. And usually that's a bellwether, because many retailers look and say, how are they doing it? How effective is it? What are customers, are they gravitating towards it? And it is a fantastic experience when it happens. It's concierge level experience, and the channels blur. It becomes super effective to use the online space to identify what you're looking for and to be able to then highlight them and walk into the store and have that. And I think a number of retailers are watching that capability and wondering if they can bring it to their stores. More of the mass merchants, it's hard to do because the margin profiles aren't there. The stores are so large. And so there needs to be other ways. But if the experience works and if the experience is what customers are looking for, there are ways to be able to deliver it. And we're a software provider. We're a managed service, if you will, using our AI and our technology. But there's hardware solutions that need to be put in place, whether it's in-store beacons, tablets for store associates, real-time inventory, things along those lines. And in addition to the customer identification as the customer walks through the store. So there are a number of hardware solutions that will enable the experience that have to be put in place.
From what I understand from you, is basically following the customer from when he starts to when it comes to the store and all the way to the POS. It reproduces to an extent the experience of having a personalized assistant, somebody that really coaches the customers, and it adds value. So this is something that the average consumer, regardless of whether it is high-end or not high-end, it's something that appreciates. Is this a correct statement?
It is. I totally agree. I think one of the ways we and others in our space position ourselves is we would be, if you will, the brain, and through the devices and the channels and the capabilities, that's how the brain would get the arms and legs to operate. And so because we ingest all the data, customer history, current customer clues, current activity, channel engagement, that allows us to process that information in real time and make a prediction on what that customer would be interested in doing. And, along the strategic line of customer lifetime value, deliver a message and experience. But, you need the arms and the legs, right, to be able to do that. And that's the hardware and that's all the technology. So I agree with your assessment.
So the key question is, why this was not possible a few years ago? What happened in the AI world, if you like, that made all of this possible? Or if this has been an incremental improvement, what are the most relevant technology enablers of the last few years that are making this vision a reality?
Yeah, I actually think there's probably equal revolution, if you will, on the technology side and on the analytics side. So on the analytics side, the advent of machine learning, as a form of AI, right, has enabled everybody, particularly, we use Markov chains. And so therefore we know sequencing. We can predict sequencing in real time using all kinds of data inputs. The computing power that now exists today allows us to run those analytics, taking all that data in and doing it in real time. The second major change on the tech side, I would say, is cloud-based serverless technology allows for a nimble, fast, and almost infinitely scalable solution, so that as you accumulate all this data, you're not worried about how many servers I have to bring on. You're not worried about an on-prem solution. You have infinite computing capability and infinite data storage. And so two huge limitations that existed a few years back are now out of the picture. And thus, it enables this whole capability.
It's basically two components here. One is really the ability to process the algorithm real time on a large amount of data, one. Two is the infrastructure element, so being able to scale regardless of the amount of data. So just at high level, I wonder if you agree with this and if you see any particular impact that deep learning itself had in creating this, if you like, more efficient, personalized shopping assistant, or Big Brother, if we like.
I mean, we are scratching the surface on AI, machine learning, Markov chains, others that people are using, somewhat incremental. And deep learning will be greatly enabled when we get more and more insights on the customer. Now you're talking about broader sets. Wouldn't I love to know the psychographics behind a customer? Wouldn't I love to know more about the personal interests of a particular customer to the extent that information is made available to me, maybe social graphs, things along those lines. And those provide just dramatic insights into the ability to then engage a customer in a very, very personal way. But I think that those are going to be the thing we'll be talking about 3 years from now. But I think today, what's readily available when you think about Amazon and AWS with Lambda, which is a way for people to kind of process their data analytics and machine learning. It becomes a low-cost, high-impact solution that's available today. And so therefore, all you need is the right intelligence, the right data scientists, and the right technologists to take most advantage of the capability and apply it in a way. But I think we're still a little bit away from the true deep learning that AI eventually will deliver on.
You talked when we were preparing this interview about a very interesting case that has to do with something that we do very often. So going to refuel our cars. Can we take a closer look in this area and see how machine learning is used and what type of customer experience is enabled?
Take the largest fuel provider in the world, I believe, ExxonMobil, which is a customer of ours. And what we do is we connect their gas stations to the service centers to the convenience stores. And where the intelligence comes in, every customer is evaluated individually, and every customer will have maybe a different engagement mechanism. So some customers may be customers that aren't at the gas station frequently enough that they're not providing Exxon with all their gas purchases. And so we read that data and we provide an incentive to get them to capture greater share of wallet. Others may not have shopped in the convenience store. And so what we're doing is we're getting them to go into the convenience store because we recognize that customers who shop the fuel plus the convenience store are better customers overall for Exxon. And then finally, there's service centers, whether it's oil changes or whether it's a car wash, things along those lines are also areas that if you have a customer that's already purchasing in one, the fuel, and two, in the C-store, get them into the service centers. And what you see, and one of the greatest, maybe the greatest testament to the performance of this one-to-one was that prior to using this one-to-one loyalty engagement, it would take Exxon 2 years to mature a customer through standard techniques. An email here, a mobile message there, across the board, everybody got the same message. And it would take 2 years to realize max customer lifetime value. By using one-to-one, it cut that time by 75%. So in a quarter of the time, you're able to get the customer to maximum lifetime value. You're getting as much of the fuel business as you are from them. You're getting as much of the service business and much of the C-store business. The AI enables the individualized engagement by assessing each customer in real time and engaging each customer with an individualized offer. The AI is the brain behind that and makes the decisions on what to put in front of the customers to accelerate each individual customer's customer lifetime value. And again, like I said, the payoff was it goes from 2 years under normal mature to normal maturity to a quarter of that time to get the customer to mature customer lifetime value. AI is the enabler of that. And you don't see it. All you do is you see a message at the pump, or you see an email message, or you see a message in your mobile device, or whatever, right? Whatever the form of loyalty is that that is used, that the customer prefers, that they don't see anything more to it. It's invisible to them.
So you are SVP of a machine learning driven tech company out of Boston. So if you had to give a couple of advice to people that want to go into the same career path, how do they become somebody who is an executive in tech companies, highly technology driven?
Probably fundamental, and maybe fundamental to your question is that you have to love it, right? There has to be a passion for it. For me, I love product and I love retail. And so between those two things, right, it fuels my desire to do more and more within it. And then to anybody out there, right, that's your differentiator. When the interest and the passion come through, it's an insatiable appetite for business, for the business that you're focused on. And for me, I find myself reading journals on machine learning. I find myself reading articles on technology, and I find myself constantly interacting with other retail leaders to understand what's on their mind, what are their challenges. Find myself a student of the industry. And I think anybody who wants to aspire to executive level, you never stop learning. When you feel like you have your routine down, well then, you need to recognize that, be self-aware, and move on. But it's just a passion for it. And, for me, I think having a technical background really assists. And I think having a trained business background really assists. But it starts with the passion for it.
We have seen what the benefits of AI are for the retailers, for the consumers, and how the consumers basically are getting these personalized shop assistants that give them what they might need. But what is your take about this? What do you think it's likely to happen?
In my years at retail, the way things have changed is that there are competencies within a retail organization that rise and then that fall, right? So if you asked somebody in the technology space within retail, are they finding it hard to get a job? Do they feel like their growth prospects for jobs they would say, oh my God, I get job offers all the time. So if you're within the tech section of retail, you're growing in leaps and bounds. If you're in the analytics section of retail, you're growing in leaps and bounds. Now, if you're in more of the process-driven organizations, if you're the person who puts emails together and sends emails out, right? Well, that's a Jeopardy job. If you're a person who writes content on products, that's probably a Jeopardy job, right? That's a job where you got to reinvent yourself. Now, the retailers that go out of business, and that might be the biggest kind of driver behind your question, those are clearly the retailers who have held on to their routines and their ways to go to business, and their products aren't differentiated in the marketplace. And as a result, and I don't mean, their merchandise isn't differentiated in the marketplace, but for those folk, they are in jeopardy, but the sales will transfer to somebody else. So maybe retailer X goes out of business, but the demand for the merchandise transfers to others that are more competitive and more aligned with what the consumer wants. And I don't think you can ever go wrong if you have the consumer as the star of your planning, knowing what they want, using personas, keep footing things back to customer experience and what's in it for the customer is the retailer's best chance of keeping everybody employed. But I think that within a retailer organization, certain areas are chronically understaffed, like technology and analytics, and other areas I think are vulnerable because of technology disintermediating kind of their skill set.
You basically advocated this idea that sales overall are growing. and the economies are growing globally, sales are growing. So jobs will migrate from one company to another if one company shuts down. It looks like there is gonna be a net loss of jobs. That's what it looks like, at least from what we see today, the direction we see today. Basically, how do we make out of this? Like, it's what do you think is the societal impact of this? Do we have people working less hours? Do we have instead people trying to move from a less educated background to a more technical background?
I think, for example, a lot of the kids that are getting educated today are finding their way into these high demand roles like technology and analytics. My son's class of chemical engineers went from a class graduation rate of 45 last year to 92 this year. And I think we'll see more and more people in those areas, and less people growing up to be inventory management folk, supply chain management folk, because those roles aren't in demand, or those roles will be the ones that are in decline.
With this interesting question, we come to the end. Thank you so much for being here, Ron. It was a pleasure. For our audience, if you have any questions, please comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.
Thank you, Paolo, and thank you, everybody, for listening.